Hello, in this video I'm gonna show you some first things to do on your Motorola Edge 70 to get the most out of it. So as you can see right here in front of me, there is that Motorola, and we'll do a few things to make it more performative and give it a little boost. So now let's begin by some basic settings. You can see I have dark mode enabled. Dark mode means most applications, the ones that do support it, including all system apps, and most of the most popular ones will have dark background and white text on it. What that means is not only is it better for your eyes because there's less light being projected onto your eyes, but also it is better for your battery because displaying black on an OLED display doesn't waste your battery. So if you like to do it, you can simply do it in display settings, then disable or enable dark theme. You can also click on it and set a schedule for it, for a custom time or sunset to sunrise. Now that's pretty simple. Now there is also a few other things here in these settings in the display, so we'll try and get a look at that. The first thing I always recommend checking is display refresh rate. Now you have 3 different options here. The smart and balanced will balance between the smooth screen refresh rate and battery consumption being lower. Now efficiency first will make the refresh rate, which I'll explain in a moment, a little lower, but the battery will be saved, and Hypersmooth will always keep at around 120 Hz, which will make your display way smoother but may use more battery. Now display refresh rate is basically how many frames are being displayed per second, and 60 is the default one on most devices you probably have seen. 60 in my opinion is just fine, and I don't really care about it being 120, but I know there are people out there that really see that difference and they do care. So if you don't really know whether you'd like to set it to 120 or 60, I'd recommend actually testing it out. Try setting it to efficiency first and see if you feel like your phone's not too smooth, and if you feel like it, if you decide you'd like it more smoother, you can set it to Hypersmooth or Smart Balanced. But if you don't really see the difference, or if you do but you don't care, I would recommend setting it to efficiency first so your battery isn't wasted. I leave it on Smart and Balanced, but as I said, it's up to you. You should test it out if you haven't yet. Now another thing here is going to be in personalize in settings. So that is going to be your fingerprint animation, and I know that's quite a small feature, but I think it may be pretty cool if you'd set it to something that you think works the best for you, so you can choose whichever one you like, and then when unlocking your phone with fingerprint sensor you'll see this animation. I think that's really cool. Speaking of personalization, it is always worth personalizing your lock screen, so it's always yours. Now you can see when I click on the wallpaper in personalization, I have the lock screen and home screen being displayed, and if I want to choose new wallpaper, I can choose it from my own photos, which I think in most cases is the best because they are your personal ones, and it'll make your phone feel a bit more personal. There's also Image Studio, which lets you generate a photo with AI. There's also dynamic ones, which are going to be animated, that I think is really cool, and curated images, which are basically provided by Motorola. I think I'm gonna go to my photos, see if I have any. Okay, I don't have anything cool. So maybe let's set a dynamic one. Maybe this one with the flower. You can see that the dynamic ones require a little moment for them to download. Let's now click on it. And I'll set it as a wallpaper. Now I can select whether I want to set it as home screen, lock screen, or both of them. I'll just set it on the lock screen. I'll keep the live wallpaper on, right? Wait, I think I misunderstood. Live wallpaper isn't the dynamic one, so I'll actually turn off the live wallpaper. Live wallpaper is this feature that shows you images from the internet on your lock screen. I don't really like that feature anyway, so I'm just gonna set it as wallpaper for my lock screen. Okay, now it's set successfully. If you like, you can also click on the lock screen here, I believe, or go back and actually, I believe you could have changed it here. Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, it's here in personalize, it's lock screen, and you can customize more things on your lock screen. You can change how the clock is being displayed. You can see there are different options here. Different widgets can be added and everything. And also you can change how notifications are being displayed. You can set it as a list, as a chip, or as a bubble. I'll set it as chip. And you can add two shortcuts here in bottom left and bottom right corner for easier access to some things like flashlight, for example, and let's say camera. Now, when we go back, let's add the city for the weather. Let's say the current location, but you can change it to something else. Now let's see. As you can see, my live wallpaper is there. That's pretty cool. And let's get to some other things. Now, if you'd like to speed up your phone's animations, you can always do that by going to About Phone. So that's going to be here, About Phone. Then there's going to be, I believe, the device details, right? Let's click on the Android version. And then the build number should be there. It's not the... Okay, that's weird. I can't really find that. Let's try going to device identifiers. Yeah, and the build number. Click on it 7 times, then go back. And now in system, you will have developer options. When you scroll down a little bit, actually quite far, you'll find window animation scale, transition animation scale, and animator duration scale. Now changing that, I will show you. If I set it to a higher value, it'll make the animations much slower. But if I set it to a lower value, for example 0.5, you can see how snappy the animations are now. And if you don't like that, you can just not change it, but I personally like the animations being snappier, so that's why I always change it for the animations to be quicker, and my phone feels quicker that way. But if you want, you can also set the animations to off. Now everything will happen instantly, but for me it just doesn't feel as smooth. You can see there's no animations whatsoever, and I don't really like that, so I'm just gonna set it to 0.5, and now everything is, I think, cool. Now another part is going to your settings again, and in the settings going to home and lock screen, then go to home settings, and you'll find a few things here. You can find the icon size. You can change the icon size so they are larger or smaller depending on what you find better for you. You can see when I make them larger, they actually do appear larger, and when I make them smaller, they are indeed smaller. Now, not only that, but you can also change the app label to 1 row or 2 rows. 2 rows means if an app label, if an app name is too long to fit in 1 row, it'll just take 2 rows. Or you can even not show the app labels if you'd like it that way. And the thing I was looking for, I don't really see that here, but let's try pressing and holding on the home screen. Let's see if we can find it, because there was a really cool setting about maybe it's not available anymore. Yeah, I don't think that's, yeah, that may be available in personalize. So after pressing and holding on the home screen, click on personalize, go to layout, and now you can change how many apps will fit on the screen. If you'd like more apps to fit on the screen, you can set it to, for example, 5x7. You can see now, I need to save it, and you'll see how many apps can fit here. Now, if I wanted the apps to be really big on the screen, to make the phone simpler, I could set it to, for example, 2x2. And now you can see there's only 6 apps at most on the screen, including the bottom bar. And for some people, that will be pretty useful to make the phone simpler and make it easier to find things. Now I'll revert to the default settings, which is 4x6, and let's go to the last thing I would like to show you, which is going to be gestures. In gestures, actually it's going to be more than one thing, but last section of settings. First, system navigation. If you'd like to change whether you have 3 buttons or gestures, you can do that here. You can have the 3 buttons, the back button, home button, and recents button, or go to gesture navigation and now use gestures. To use gestures, swipe up from the bottom of your screen to use it as a home button to go to the home screen. Swipe and hold to go to recents, and if you'd like to go back, swipe towards the center of the screen from the left or from the right side of the screen. And I do prefer gestures, but if you'd like to make it simpler, you can set it to 3 button navigation. Now, also, another thing here is the power key. You can set it to digital assistant, so when you press and hold on the power key, it'll open Gemini, but you can also set it to the power menu if you'd like to just turn off the phone that way. But if you have it set to digital assistant, you can still access the power button, the power menu, by pressing and holding on power and I believe volume up. Yes, just you don't even need to hold, just press on power and volume up. Then for double press, you can set it to camera, which means double pressing will result in opening the camera, as you can see. Pretty easy. And the last thing is quick capture. When you enable that, you can flick your wrist to open the camera. So that's another cool way of opening the camera. And I hope that this video was helpful. Let me know in the comments down below which of the things I've shown you is the favorite one, and feel free to like and subscribe. I'll see you in more videos.